So we were interacting about representation of this configuration, wherein this VCC, what we are representing over here. So the same thing I have represented in terms of this circuit. Okay, so the same VCC is going to forward bias your base emitter junction. The same VCC is going to reverse bias your collector to base junction. Is it clear to you? Okay. Sometimes what we do is, instead of representing this VCC common to both the terminals, we'll be representing VCC somewhat like this. Okay. So I'll be showing my RC here. I'll be showing my RB here, and this is my RE. So RE will be interconnected to ground. So here I represent this as plus VCC, this as plus VCC. All are same. All the circuits are same. Just the representation style is different. So you should not feel that when the circuit is being shown like this, what new kind of a circuit is this? Okay, so this circuit is exactly same as that of the circuit which is represented here, which is exactly same as that of the circuit represented here. So this is the various forms in which a circuit can be seen, or this circuit can be typed. Okay, now we'll write the equations for this particular circuits, which will help us to analyze the circuit. Okay, uh, as we have already written the equation for VBB. Okay, wherein we have said that our VBB voltage, the VBB voltage which is being written over here, just a minute. Okay, no issues. We'll write it once again. The VBB voltage, the VBB voltage is been given by VBB is equals to, it's the voltage across the base. So I can write this as R2 divided by R1 plus R2 into VCC. So this is the equation for VBB. Then we have written the equation for RB as RB. This base resistance should be equal to R1 in parallel with R2. So what is the effective value of RB? The effective value of RB is found to be as R1 into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Okay. Now we also know that when I apply the KCL to the base emitter loop, when I apply KCL to the base emitter loop, okay, when I apply the KCL to this base emitter loop, so applying KCL to the base emitter loop, applying KCL to the base emitter loop, I can write the equation as my IE current, my emitter current, okay, will be, or I can say that the base current, my base current, this current IB, so this is the direction of my base current, this is the direction of my collector current, this is the direction of my emitter current. So my base current IB will be equal to IE divided by beta plus 1. My IB is equals to IE divided by beta plus 1. Then in that case, I can just write the equation for my IE. Okay, substituting this value, I will be able to get my IE will be equal to, if I write KCL expression, sorry, KVL expression over here, then I'll be able to get my VBB, this voltage VBB minus VBE, okay, minus VBE. So this is my base bias voltage VBB. So VBB minus VBE divided by RE plus RB divided by beta plus 1 divided by beta plus 1. So this is how I'm able to get the equation for my IE. Or in simple words, what is this? This is nothing but my IB. This is nothing but my IB. In other words, I'm just writing for an equation wherein my IE will be equal to beta plus 1 times that of the IB, beta plus 1 times that of the IB. Now, what is that? I am more interested in this. However, these equations can be developed just by applying KCL to this circuit as well as KVL to the circuit, respectively. Okay. Now, I am more interested about how this configuration is going to nullify the sensitivity of circuit on temperature and beta. How the circuit is going to nullify the effect of temperature and beta. Now, normally, in order to make the circuit insensitive, to make my emitter current specifically, to make my emitter current specifically insensitive to the temperature and beta variations, beta variations. So these are my design rules, which has to be sufficed at any instant. My VBB, that's the base bias voltage, has to be much greater than VBE. That is, whatever the potential you are going to define over here, your VBB. Let me say this is some 17 volts or 20 volts or 25 volts. What is your VBE? For a silicon transistor, this VBE is 0.7. If any small fluctuation happens here, will there be any change in the voltage? No, there will be no change in the voltage or minor change in voltage. So that may not shift your Q point. That may not shift your Q point. It may not bring any changes in your Q point. So it means you have to set your VBB, much greater than that of VBE. First thing. A second thing, you have to maintain your RE resistance. You have to maintain your RE resistance, your emitter resistance, okay, such that this is much greater than that of, sorry, this should be much less than that of your RB. So RB divided by beta plus 1. Since beta, you know what's the value? It's in terms of hundreds, in the band of your 50 to 400. So as denominator is high, what about your numerator? The numerator will be less. Numerator will be less. Understanding? So it means your RE value should be able to match this equation. RE value should be able to match this equation. So once these two conditions are satisfied, then I can say that this voltage divider bias circuit, or it's also called as base bias circuit. You should remember the alias name. The voltage divider bias circuit is also called as base bias circuit because you're biasing the base. So voltage divider bias or base bias or your classical discrete circuit bias arrangement. Okay, so this is able to maintain your Q factor, or sorry, your Q point. It's able to maintain a Q point stable. It's able to maintain a Q point stable. So because of this particular reason, you will find this voltage divider bias circuit in any applications. So you people have already designed in a basic electronics using this voltage divider bias circuit. You are able to design your oscillators. You are able to design your amplifiers. Am I right? So why it is? It is just because you have to remember this one point. We are using voltage divider bias circuit in any applications just because it offers Q point stability. Your Q point is stable. This is a very important point. Okay. Now, normally in case of our AC analysis, we just include the coupling capacitors on both input side and output side. So if at all if I want to show that, then I can show over here that coupling capacitors on the input port is being seen here. So this is my CI. So this is an input coupling capacitor. This is an input coupling capacitor. So it is being seen on the input side. And the output coupling capacitor is seen over here. So this is C out. One more coupling capacitor seen on the output terminal. Okay, so whenever I'm going to perform any DC analysis, whatever we have performed over here, we never include this CI and C0. Just for a simple reason, we know that XC, the reactance offered by the capacitance, has been given by XC is equals to 1 over 2 pi Fc. For DC analysis, I know what's the frequency of my DC signal. The frequency of my DC signal is 0. So it means Xc is equals to 2 pi, frequency of my DC signal is 0 into the capacitance of the capacitor. Now since there is 0 in the denominator, the reactance offered with the capacitance is infinite. Infinite in my electronic circuit, it simply means this is an open circuit. This is an open circuit. So it means capacitors we are not going to use whenever I'm going to perform a DC analysis onto the circuit. But whenever I'm performing any AC analysis, so at that time the coupling capacitors has to be shown on the input port as well as on the output port. Is it clear to you? So what I'll be doing with respect to this topic is I'll be solving numericals immediately after the theory concept. Okay, normally what we used to do is uh, first we used to take all the theoretical topics and then at a stretch we used to solve the numericals. But if at all, if a good understanding of this topic has to be done, then I do feel immediately after this topic, let us solve one or two numericals on this topic. Okay, so that will get a good solid understanding about what I am saying, because unless and until you work on this circuits, you will never understand the topic to a great extent. Okay, so tomorrow I'll be solving some numericals on this classical discrete biasing circuit. Okay, is it clear to you?